Jesse, we're going to keep things moving along here. We have a lightweight title fight. Nick Brown taking on Armandell Cameron out of Rufus Sport in Wisconsin, and Jake Digman is going to bring these guys out.
Following contest is a professional bout in the Pinnacle FC lightweight division, and it is brought to you by True Image Tattoo. Introducing first, making his way down the aisle into the blue corner, please welcome Armandell Cameron.
Armandell Cameron coming out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the continued expansion here of Pinnacle FC. Our first fighter from Rufus Sport, and hopefully not the last, because this guy is a very, very top prospect. Trains on a day in and day out basis. Guys like Eric Koch, and you'll see fast rising Bellator MMA star with the Bellator shirt on, Emmanuel Sanchez in his corner.
Yeah, and Armandell Cameron really hearing it here from the local crowd with the boos. But I tell you what, this kid is a top prospect in the nation. We're truly blessed to have him here on a holiday week here at Pinnacle Fighting Championships in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on Thanksgiving Eve, because making that trip all the way from Milwaukee's got to be something. And I'm telling you, we're going to see some action on this fight.
A high school wrestler, also wrestled at UW Parkside in college. He says, I'm going to take it to him. He said he doesn't really see a lot of holes in Nick Brown's game, but he thinks that if he puts the pressure on Nick Brown, that he will be able to come out on top here. 5 wins, 1 loss, and a guy who really kind of finishes fights in every way possible. Has a couple submissions, 1 TKO win. Really, really well-rounded guy, and coming down to this weight class. Had a little bit of a tough time coming down to this weight class. Has fought in the past as high as 185 pounds.
Yeah, he mentioned to us earlier in the day that he's still waiting to find that big challenge fight. He really hasn't experienced a big fight yet against somebody that difficult. He does have a loss, but still doesn't feel that that person was that kind of a big challenge that he's looking for. He's got a great wrestling background. He's the high school wrestling coach at Pulaski High School out in Milwaukee, where he is from. So the guy gives back to the community in a bunch of different ways. Mentioned to us some businesses that he has on the side, but fighting is a full-time career for him. He's a full-time fighter at Rufus Sport, like we mentioned. And like
3 times a day, 6 times a week, training with guys at Rufus Sport. As you mentioned, Eric Koch. They have Ben Askren there, Anthony Showtime Pettis, Sergio Pettis, and of course CM Punk.
Right. Yeah, and our close friend of Pinnacle Fighting Championships, Cody No Love Garbrandt, is popping in at Rufus Sport this week too.
And Digman's going to bring out NyQuil.
And his opponent, making his way down the aisle into the red corner, please welcome Nick Brown.
And speaking of beard of the night, I think Nick Brown may have this thing locked up. Beard of the night, he's 5-0, 2-time Pinnacle FC vet, held the amateur lightweight title and said, I'm going to go ahead and I'll take the pro lightweight title too.
You know, and Nick Brown's one of my favorite fighters too. He's so exciting. The guy's just highlight after highlight. You know, he's a big guy. He's rangy. He's basically a bad body type if you're not built just like him. Like you mentioned, also contender for beard of the night.
And if you try to pick a fighter's game apart, you look at Nick Brown. There's literally nothing that you can find that is a hole in his game. That's why I love to watch him fight. He does everything right, everything well. Very technical, has a lot of power, good wrestling. We take a look here, Jesse, at the tail of the tape. What stands out to you in this one?
You know, this one is pretty much identical right down the middle. You know, these two fighters are pretty well evenly matched. A little bit of a size advantage to Nick Brown. Like I said, he's long, he's rangy. He's got a bit of a reach on Armandell Cameron, but I tell you what, coming out of that Rufus Sport camp, we're definitely going to see some highlight action.
Right, the undefeated Nick Brown owns the fastest knockout in World Series of Fighting history. Also, as we mentioned, a 2-0 record here under the Pinnacle FC banner. Last fight, Pinnacle FC 11 in August. Took on Caleb McAllister, who was a late replacement, and really just took it to Caleb McAllister. Caleb wanted to play games with him and try to pull guard, and Nick Brown was having none of that. Played top game, knocked him out with hammer fist between his legs. It was vicious, it was nasty, it was beautiful.
It was one of the best knockouts that I've ever seen. A lot of hype coming in on that fight, and Nick Brown just wasn't believing it. He got in there and just took care of business.
Right, and Nick Brown doing some cross-training at Team Impact with the likes of Joey Holt. Josh Stansberry also said he took some time and went out to Bullpen Fight Club in Wheeling, West Virginia, but his home base is still Uniontown Fight Club. As you see Bill Bosley and AJ Bosley in his corner, they've been there since the beginning with this guy. Had a impressive amateur career, 12 wins, 1 loss. As you mentioned, took the Pinnacle FC lightweight title in his last amateur fight, and now undefeated as a professional fighter, 5-0. Jake Digman is going to give us our official introduction.
The following contest is a professional bout in the Pinnacle FC lightweight division. It is brought to you by True Image Tattoo, and it is for the Pinnacle FC Professional Lightweight Championship. Introducing first in the Rehab Center blue corner. He fights out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He weighed in at 160 pounds, representing Rufus Sport with a professional record, 5 wins, 1 loss. Please welcome Armando Rude Boy Cameron. And his opponent in the southpaw red corner. He fights out of Uniontown, Pennsylvania. He weighed in at 155 pounds, representing Uniontown Fight Club with a professional record, 5 wins, 0 losses. Please welcome Nick NyQuil Brown. This bout is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds, and when the action begins, your referee is Mr. Chip Snyder.
Okay, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the back. I expect you to obey them and me at all times. I want a clean, fair fight. Any questions, red? Any questions, blue? Touch gloves and go back.
Nick Brown in the black trunks for Armandale Cameron, also in the black. Chip Snyder, third man in the cage. You saw an interesting stare down as Nick Brown gave the death stare and Cameron refused to look at him. Brown starts off with a head kick. Just a little feeling out head kick there. Armandale Cameron immediately looking for the takedown. That little single leg takedown. Brown stuffs it back to his feet already. Cameron looking to push the pace up against the cage here.
We mentioned a little bit earlier, he's a head wrestling coach at the high school, giving us a little glimpse of that here early on.
This is a position where we've seen Nick Brown very few times in the past because he's a guy who super aggressive, likes to take the fight to his opponent. Doesn't have his back on the cage a lot. Knee to the body there from Armandale Cameron. Nick Brown looking to work. He has a whizzer on the left arm of Armandale Cameron as they're right in front of our broadcast position here. Cameron throwing some hammer fist to the thigh there. Brown now pushing him on the cage.
And those punches to the thigh, something we've seen a lot more of in MMA recently.
Brown now looking to change levels for the takedown here against Armandale Cameron, who has a nice wide base up against the cage. Nice little inside knee there from Nick Brown. So he's looking to clasp his hands, has a body lock now against Armandale Cameron, looking for that trip takedown right in front of us here. Knee to the body there from Nick Brown.
Blue corner, you gotta sit down, man. Sit down. Sit down.
Armandale Cameron now turns Nick Brown up against the cage as we saw a couple of shots to the body there. Cameron now has the clinch up against the cage. Knee to the body there from Cameron. Pace is slowed down a little bit here from where it started.
Really working like positional things here, just trying to get the advantage to try to set up something big.
A lot of clinch fighting here. Cameron briefly had a tie plum. Knee to the body. Brown is working those knees to the body, really trying to get some space here. As Brown looking for a throw there. Armandale Cameron blocks it. Good positional stuff here from Nick Brown as he takes his arm and puts it on that knee of Armandale Cameron as he is. Brown looking for the throw. We saw him land a throw against Caleb McAllister in his last fight.
And both of these guys very clearly respecting each other's positional power.
Almost a little bit of a stalemate here between these two guys. Both have a lot of grappling experience, grappling backgrounds, and neither guy wanting to be put on his back. Brown looks for the single leg as he throws a short little punch there to Armandale Cameron. Cameron has that underhook, which is keeping
watch that
him
neck.
vertical. Brown escapes out. Good head position here for Brown, and they release here off the cage. Outside leg kick from Brown, and Armandale Cameron catches it, looking to run the pipe here and get that single leg.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get away with too many of those leg kicks on a quite qualified wrestler like that.
Short little jab there from Armandale Cameron, and Brown briefly drops his hands. Brown looking for the head kick as he drives in, now looking for a takedown of his own. Armandale Cameron has control of that left arm of Nick Brown here as they are on the cage again. Right in front of Pinnacle FC owner Matt Layshawk and also our matchmaker sitting there. Brown does run the pipe, gets the single leg, puts Armandale Cameron on his back. Looks like he has, I thought he had control of that right or left arm of Armandale Cameron. Brown now in half guard. Now
Steps over to mount.
Steps over to mount. Cameron turns his back, looking to hit the switch here. Brown doing a good job, maybe looking to climb on that, and Armandale Cameron doing a good job of getting back to his feet, but Nick Brown now has his back, looking to drag him to the cage, or drag him to the ground, as I was trying to mention that Armandale grabbing the cage. Nick Brown again with the vicious, just moving forward. Nice knee there as Armandale Cameron dropped his head. They separate again, Brown cutting off the cage. Armandale looking to get back to the center, and he does. A little front kick there from Nick Brown. Back and forth battle here. 20 seconds left to go in the first round of this lightweight title fight. Now Brown has control of his neck. Head position, Brown.
Nice shot.
Brown doing a good job keeping his back off the cage against the wrestler Armandale Cameron. Head down, under 10 seconds left to go here. Shot to the spine that referee Chip Snyder misses. The round ends. Jesse, that's a very close round, a lot of positional battling, but how do you score that one?
I'm going to have to give that one to Armandale Cameron. It seemed like he controlled it enough to convince me of the win, or to win the round, rather. Nick Brown, though, not a slouch anywhere. Anytime he got a chance to take advantage of something, he certainly went for it. But I felt like maybe Armandale Cameron just had a little bit more of an advantage. He held the positions a little bit longer, seemed to be able to negate Nick Brown a little bit more. As we take a look here.
I'm actually going to disagree with you and say that Nick Brown won that round.
Oh.
Cameron did have that takedown, but I don't think he completely finished it. Didn't ever really put Brown completely on his butt, and Brown did finish a takedown. Got the half guard, actually. Really did a good job of position. I thought he was a little bit more of the aggressor on the feet there. So close round. I think legitimately you can score that round either way. I think that Cameron also, as you mentioned, did some good things of putting Brown on his back. Close first round here between these two lightweight fighters. 5-0 Nick Brown, 5-1 Armandale Cameron. You can see just basically the high level of these two fighters. Both coming from great camps.
Armandale Cameron came in 5 pounds heavy at weigh-ins yesterday, so maybe that had something to do with it a little bit, being able to control position.
Yeah, Nick Brown said he felt definitely disrespected and wasn't too happy about that. Brown throwing a lot of kicks here. Interesting that he got a couple of those kicks caught in the first round, but not straying away from that game plan.
Yeah, not to be deterred.
Brown now driving in again for the takedown. Up against the cage, Cameron again has that left arm, has control of that left arm of Nick Brown as Nick Brown looks for that single leg. Has his arms clasped. Up against the cage here as Brown looks for the takedown. Couple of elbows there. Those are to the top of the head of Nick Brown from Armandale Cameron. Brown now dragging him to the ground. Cameron has control of him in almost like a bulldog position.
He can get a choke from there if he can get his arm under the chin, but
a little bulldog choke. That's a very rare choke, but you see it every once in a while in gi jiu-jitsu. One elbow to the head there from Armandale Cameron as Brown again looking to take his back here, and Cameron looking for the Kimura that he does not get. Now has a whizzer on that right side, does Armandale Cameron. And Brown is just a vicious guy. He's going to keep coming forward. He's going to make you pay, and finishes his takedown now on top. Lands an elbow now, looking for position. Armandale Cameron again gives him his back. Interesting that this is the second time they've been in this position. Both times, Cameron didn't seem really to be too worried about giving Nick Brown his back.
Now, Nick Brown's got that arm tied up. He can kind of roll into a crucifix here and start to work for some positions.
Almost a reverse crucifix as Brown. Cameron now looking to finish the takedown and puts Brown on his butt. Brown with the butterfly guard here. Has an overhook on Armandale Cameron's left arm. Cameron looking to posture up and throw strikes. Couple shots to the body here from Cameron.
You know, one thing to be noted from Cameron, always scoring points. And in these tight positions, he's always throwing punches, landing them on the legs, on the body. He's always looking to score points.
You see Brown trying to get space and get back to his feet, really using those hips on the feet of rude boy Armandale Cameron. Cameron doing a good job of sucking his hips in, staying close here to Nick Brown. Brown looking to grab an arm or something of Armandale Cameron. Cameron has both of his hands on the mat here.
Looking for that straight arm lock.
Yeah, that's a tough one to finish off of your back.
Yeah, he would need to kick his hips out a little bit more to get the angle on it, but it was certainly there.
Just over halfway through round number 2 here in this lightweight title bout. Is a 3-round fight at Pinnacle FC 12. Brown with the butterfly guard on his back. Armandale Cameron looking to posture up and not really able to gain much space so far from Nick Brown. As Brown sits up, still has that butterfly guard looking to push off of the hips of Armandale Cameron.
Yeah, it looks like
now hits the sweep. It looks like it escapes off the back, but Cameron has his back up against the cage again. Good job by Nick Brown getting back to his feet, but Cameron still attacking. Brown, you see, still pushing the hand on that knee. Body lock here from Armandale Cameron as he throws those knees to the leg. And those are not going to knock out your opponent, but those are like vitamins. You take them, and that's going to really affect the punching power of Nick Brown.
Yeah, definitely. The more of those knee shots that you're going to take, they're going to wear on you. And there's
another takedown here from Armandale Cameron as Brown is up against the cage looking to get back to his feet. And he does stand back up and gets a takedown of his own as the crowd erupts here. Brown now takes his back, has that right hook in. Looking to flatten Armandale Cameron out, just over a minute to go, so he has time to work. Has both hooks in. Does Nick Brown throwing some big shots here. Has Armandale Cameron's back with the full body lock. Locks in the choke, not completely under the chin just yet.
He can finish that with a neck crank.
As Cameron needs to fight hands here. And Nick Brown was losing that round pretty badly and now is actually threatening to finish. A punch under the armpit from Nick Brown here, just looking to open up rude boy Armandale Cameron here in this lightweight title. About 30 seconds left to go in the middle round here at Pinnacle FC 12.
Nick Brown needs to be careful here. He doesn't get bucked off in the back.
Brown still looking for that rear naked choke.
Puts on that body triangle, and that's going to be hell on him with that.
And he has it, looking to lock in that rear naked choke under the chin and still riding the hips of Armandale Cameron as he has that body lock. 10 seconds left. Brown still threatening, not going to finish the choke here in this second round, but riding the hips as he has that body lock, body triangle locked in. Interesting second round there, Jesse. You saw Armandale Cameron come out, use the positioning, land a couple of takedowns, but Nick Brown for that last minute and a half really was dominant, took the back, landed a takedown of his own, took the back of Armandale Cameron and was threatening that rear naked choke for about the last minute of the second round.
Yeah, and that body triangle, that's a real puzzle to get out of if you don't really know how. And sometimes it can even work as a submission if you're able to drop your hips on it. We take a look at these elbows here.
Those are to the top of the head. Definitely legal shots there as Brown looking for the takedown. Good job by Cameron not letting Brown take his back.
But I feel maybe Nick Brown might have stole that round from him there at the end. I mean, he definitely resurged towards the later parts of the round. I got it tied up 1-1. I know you mentioned previously that you felt Nick Brown got the first round, so maybe 2-0 on your scorecard?
I think both rounds were very close. I scored that second round. I think Nick Brown, just based on the fact that he was trying to finish it late in the round and Cameron really didn't ever come close to finishing it, I think that Nick Brown stole that round.
I agree. I got it tied up 1-1. But either way, in these next 5 minutes, we're going to get a winner.
Third round, we see our first glove touch of the fight here. See if we see some striking here in the third round. Been mostly grappling and clinching. Brown switches to southpaw here just briefly. Jab there from Cameron. Another jab. Brown maybe looking to shoot. Throws the head kick again.
He's not afraid to throw it.
Yeah, not setting it up really at all. Maybe I'm not really sure what a Superman punch as Cameron changes levels there. Again, Brown is in the butterfly guard as Cameron looks to posture up and throw shots. And a couple of shots to the body, one to the head. Brown again has this butterfly. Great defensive guard is the butterfly guard. This is, in my opinion, the best for sweeps. Easy to elevate. You'll see that elevator sweep. Easy if you want to get a guy off you. There's the elevator from Nick Brown.
It's tough to get something going when you're flat on your back like that. You see as he come up off his back, he's able to generate a little more torque on that, and clearly worked out for him beneficially, so he gets here in the side control.
Right, and Brown with a sweep now in. Mount has that left arm of Cameron chapped. Cameron trying to turn him over again. Brown riding the back. Cameron turns him over. Now Cameron takes the back of Nick Brown. 3.5 minutes left to go in this fight.
Nice scramble.
And the points are going to be very important here at this stage of the fight.
Yeah, so far tonight, the judges seem to have had a pretty easy night with some decisions that with the finishes that we had. But this decision, if it comes that way, it might be a little bit tough.
Cameron with his hands on the mat here. Has that body lock on Nick Brown.
Brown looking for that straight arm lock
Interesting
again.
that Cameron doesn't really appear to be looking to posture here, just looking to drive his head into the chest of Nick Brown and throw shots.
Just keep scoring points.
And Chip Snyder standing them up. Interesting decision here from Chip Snyder, but he says, let's go, guys. You're in a fight here. This is for a title. You got to do something. Jab there from Cameron lands. Nick Brown flat-footed, not respecting the striking of Armandale Cameron at all. So he lands that short little left hook. Cameron lands a 1-2. Left hook again from Brown. Brown looks a little bit wobbly here.
Yeah, he's a little bit staggered with his steps a little bit. Eyes are wide. He's breathing heavy.
Another takedown there from Armandale Cameron as he looks for that ankle pick. Brown looking to survive. Maybe looking to get back to his feet. Armandale not able to completely finish that takedown.
You see how Armandale keeping that chest pressure.
You see that hand of Nick Brown on the mat there briefly, as a knee would have been illegal there from Armandale Cameron. As Brown hits the switch, again has Armandale Cameron's back with under 2 minutes left to go here in the fight. Seems like Nick Brown playing coy a little bit for the first 3 minutes of the round and then attacking in the last 2 minutes.
Hey, sometimes you just need to conserve some energy and find a spot to explode and try to exploit that whenever the opportunity presents itself.
Brown looking to drive here again. Has a clinch up against the cage. Very, very close fight here between these two lightweights. A takedown would be big here at this stage. Brown looking to maybe grab that ankle on the opposite side. Looks for the trip.
Plays it up.
Switches it. Yeah, body lock, gets the trip takedown. Big, big points there from Nick Brown. He takes the back of Armandale Cameron again as they are right in front of us. And Armandale looking to shake Brown off as Brown looks to grab the rear naked choke. Armandale looking to escape out the back door. Nick Brown having none of it as he's very, very high on Armandale Cameron. Armandale still trying to sneak out the back door as he has control of that right arm of Nick Brown.
And Nick Brown seems to have his weight pretty well centered on top. He's landing some big
Couple
shots.
Of shots there.
Top.
Those are scoring. As Armandale shakes him off now on top again. Jesse, this is a back and forth battle. I do not envy the judges in this one as we approach 20 seconds left to go here in this fight. Yeah. Armandale Cameron on top. And you got to figure that's gonna play a factor here as the fight. They are supposed to score the entire round even, but you got to figure that the judges are going to take into account a fighter ending the round and ending the fight on top, throwing shots as Nick Brown throws shots off of his back. Great battle here between two experienced, talented, professional fighters.
Right, like you mentioned, I mean, sometimes you get that schoolyard mentality where, you know, somebody could be dominating that whole fight, but whoever the teacher pulls off at the end of the fight, whoever is on top is generally going to be considered the winner. You see that scoring sometimes. That's why we say sometimes that person may have stolen the round. Like you mentioned, I'm not very envious of those judges.
We take a look here at, here's that sweep that Nick Brown hits in the third round to end up on top. Unable to finish the fight, though, is either fighter. You take a look at that Pinnacle Lightweight Championship there. That will go to one of these guys in what has been a very, very close battle. You see Nick Brown there, always with the death stare. Never shows any emotion. But I got to figure if that belt's put around him, he'll show some emotion.
Well, I'm very curious to see the scorecards and how this one plays out. I mean, honestly, I could really see this going either way. You can watch any one of those rounds in in any order and not know exactly what round it was in. It was always up against the cage, round to ground. We saw a lot of transitions, a lot of scrambles, a lot of stand-up too. It was all over the place. There was no real clear, definitive one spot that this fight took place. They were all over the cage in front of us. It was exciting.
And Jake Digman has the official judges' results. And we are going to send it back up to our MC to see who won this fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for both of these championship fighters. After 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. Judge Krishka scores the bout 29-28 Cameron. Judge Armstrong scores the bout 29-28 Brown. And Judge Reiner scores the bout 29-28 for your winner by split decision and new Pinnacle Fighting Championships Professional Lightweight Champion, Nick NyQuil Brown!
You see Nick NyQuil Brown, it was not easy. He gives a little shake of the head, close fight. But nevertheless, the new Pinnacle FC Lightweight Champion as the belt is put around this guy, 6-0. What can you say about Nick NyQuil Brown?
I think you could say everything. I mean, he displayed a lot of skills from a lot of different areas. We saw him throw leg kicks, and we'll give it over here to Dave Click.
Dave
Pinnacle
Click.
Fighting Championships lightweight champion Nick NyQuil Brown. Nick, you used some great cage control to get the victory in that fight. Congratulations. How do you feel with the gold around your waist?
Feels great. First, I want to thank my Lord and Savior. Without him, nothing is possible. I feel great. I'm way more tired than I anticipated. Wrestling for 15 minutes might do that, but I had a great camp. I might have tweaked my diet a bit, but you know, I knew he was going to wrestle, so I came to wrestle, and looks like I out-wrestled the wrestler.
Great fight, man. Anybody you'd like to thank?
I want to thank my Unitown Fight Club, Bill Bosley, top-notch guy, got me to where I am today. 11 amateur fights, 6 pro fights, undefeated still. This Trevor Banco, TGB Supplements, Kessler Home Building. My work, everybody I trained with, a little hard to think in here, you guys know. I want to thank the crowd for being as loud as you guys were. It makes nothing without you guys. Thank you. I want to thank Pinnacle for having me. I look to defend my belt against anybody. You got a good record, step in here, test your medal. Let's go, guys.
I love it. And I want to compliment you on your beard. That is a thing of beauty. Congratulations on your beard and your belt. Your new Pinnacle Fighting Championships lightweight champion, Nick NyQuil Brown.